in the background.
Stop it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday morning, so you know it's time for another live edition of The Extra Point. P.O. Coulter in the house. Tasha T. Sizzle in the house. Good morning to you, T. Sizzle.
Good morning. How goes it?
It goes well. You're looking very springy and very vibrant this morning. Look like you're ready to let off some hot takes. Looking good down
Spring.
there in the DR.
Spring. Ain't no spring down here. It's either hot or hotter.
Oh, okay. So it's like Mother Texas raising up her skirt because she's about to start twerking on us this weekend too.
Mother,
Yeah.
mother, Mother Texas said, "Bend over, let me see it."
Okay, and we are off and running. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking of Texas, Texas is on fire right now after watching last night's game. The prodigal son of Dallas, Luka Doncic, aka Vanilla Ice, Ice baby, too cold, too cold. Last week, Tasha said the man had ice in his veins. This week, he said, hold my ice water. My man down 2 points with less than 10 seconds to go, put Rudy Gobert in a blender, stepped back, hit the dagger three, went for the win on the road, snatched the soul out of the 19,000 fans jam-packed in the Target Center. And Tasha, I think they may have snatched the series away from the Minnesota Timberwolves because now they're up 2-0 with the next two games back here in downtown Dallas. Tasha T. Sizzle, is this thing over?
No, I'm not gonna say that. Even though, hey, you got the newly crowned Defensive Player of the Year getting yacked on like that in the final seconds, and then you had Luka. What did he say? He was talking in Slovenian. Basically, called that man a bitch.
Right.
in his language.
And in the words of Ludacris, he said, "Get out the way. Get out the way. Get out the way."
I don't think it's necessarily over because game 3 is kind of going to be like a turning point.
Yeah.
But you still had Minnesota kind of hanging in there when Anthony Edwards, who they're calling Michael Jordan, really has not really been playing well. Hold on, guys.
As we take a moment of silence for the Minnesota Timberwolves.
He hasn't really been playing well this season. And then, Karl Anthony Towns really did not have a good game, but they were still close. It took Luka hitting that shot or Jason Kidd calling the Miami play for him, for them to actually win.
Right. It's Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards, Ant-Man. They have come up small in this series. I mean, it was just a week ago. We're old enough to remember them sitting at the podium, laughing, joking, playing around, basically put the crown on their head. Again, you have people calling Anthony Edwards the second coming of Michael Jordan, which is taking LeBron 20 years and 40,000 points, and he still hasn't taken that crown away officially from MJ. So let's slow down and pump the brakes with all of that. Tasha, let's start with Minnesota. They're a young team. They have some good pieces. Rudy Gobert, that trade, we laughed about it a couple of years ago, but it seems to be paying dividends. He seems to be worth the 4 first-round picks now that he's being a solid contributor on offense and on defense. But Karl Anthony Towns, Tasha, I want to be careful with how we frame this with him because we know he's been through a lot in his personal life. But can you win a championship with him as your second-best player?
I mean, in the words of Bomani Jones, him and Rudy Gobert together are 14 feet of disappointment. I don't know.
Oh my God!
I don't know what it is about Karl Anthony Towns that's just not. I've never really been sold on him because he's like a big man that doesn't want to be a big man, and I think that bothers me.
Right.
Like, and it's almost like when you have a series like you have against the Mavs, they're your only two big men.
Right.
They don't have enough big men to counter the big men that Dallas has. So that's why Luke was able to get in there and maneuver. You got Kyrie able to distribute and get off as well. He needs to step up and play like a big man and stop trying to play like a Euro big man and stand out and shoot these threes and do everything else.
I'm so glad that you said that because that's a perfect segue. My next thought when you were bringing up Karl Anthony Towns was that winning the three-point contest was the worst thing that ever happened to him and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Because now You're right. He's going into that Chris Webber zone in Sacramento when Chris Webber started fading away from the paint and start jacking up threes, and it changes the identity of a team. It's hard to be physical when your big man won't get in the paint and fight. The offensive rebounds that Dallas got in that fourth quarter were killer offensive rebounds. They led to several three-point plays, whether it be an and one or a three-point shot. It was absolutely there's nothing worse than being tall for nothing. You want your big man to be big down low.
But again, there's a difference. Are you big man or you tall man? He's actually both, but doesn't want to play like big man. He just wants to play like tall man. Right.
And to juxtapose that, you look at Dallas's bigs with Lively and with Gafford. They play like traditional bigs. They're going to set the pick. They're going to crash the boards. They're going to box out. They're going to rebound. They're going to be help side defenders if the man gets beat on the perimeter. So, like, they have the perfect formula to be an NBA champion. I just don't think that as long as Karl Anthony Towns is the number 2 guy in Minnesota, they won't get it done. We saw what John Morant and them did to them 2 years ago in the first round when they basically led 80% of that series and lost in 6. Because Karl Anthony Towns played small in the biggest moment.
That's it. And then again, Ja's different. Even though Ja's gone through his trials and tribulations, I'm not going to write Ja off. And I think I alluded to this last week, how they're just making Anthony Edwards the face of the NBA when we forgot about Ja.
Yeah.
He's injured, and I'm praying. I mean, you think about it. 2 years ago, we were talking about Ja being the face. It was between him and Luka.
Right.
Who's going to be the face of the NBA?
Right. And I'm loving where you're going with this, because for the people who are just now tuning in, and good morning to each and every one of you that are watching, glad to have you on board. Me and Tasha have basically talked about Ja fumbling the face of the league with his multiple infractions. And was it too late for him to capture or to catch up with Anthony Edwards? I got a question right here for you, Tasha. Is Anthony Edwards fumbling face of the league right now as we speak?
Yeah, by not winning that. But Jordan. This is his 3rd year. Jordan's 3rd year. He got put out by my Pistons.
Look, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
Yeah, but Jordan still just kind of had this air about him,
yes.
Like Jordan wasn't disappearing. And I'm not saying that Anthony Edwards is disappearing. He's showing up, but it's not, he ain't showing up. Ja showed up, even though Ja was acting a fool and they may have been losing. Ja was showing up.
Yes, and he was showing up in the biggest moments. Just look at that series they had against Golden State, where he was going toe for toe with Steph Curry and saying, yeah, we about to have fun tonight, baby, and hitting big shots in the clutch. Anthony Edwards disappointed me last night because he's trying to match Kyrie's game, and that's not your game. You're not a three-point oriented player. Right now, you need to attack the basket. You need to use your youth and your athleticism to attack like Michael Jordan did. Michael Jordan evolved into a three-point player when his athleticism started to dissipate a little bit. When he was dropping 63 on Boston back in '86, he was getting those at the rim. Get to the rim, Ant-Man. Now, go ahead.
But you can't compare Ant-Man to Lil Moccasin, because Lil Moccasin just a little bit different now. But just to like what you're saying, it kind of goes back to the Chris Webber thing.
Right.
At that time, Chris Webber, even at Michigan, Chris Webber always seemed to have heavy feet.
Right.
Remember I said something like you have Embiid, they have heavy feet like tree
lumbering up and down the court. Yeah.
And the thing is, Karl Anthony Towns doesn't necessarily have tree trunk feet. So why is it that he just doesn't want to get in and play his natural position?
Now, that's what Michael Harris was just saying. And you used a key word as in want to. It's just like tackling. You got to want to tackle. You got to want to be a headhunter in the NFL. Now, Mike says, I agree. Right. He says, if he was in the paint, he would be hard to defend, as he needs to play his natural position, or Dallas may sweep them. They might not get out of Dallas next week alive.
Michael, it's too far gone for him to play his natural position, because he doesn't feel like that's his natural position. I don't know what was in the Dominican water down here as to why he feels like he got to catch and shoot, but that ain't you, bro.
Right. You are not Peja Stojakovic. You are a big and act like a big.
Out
I'm
there
gonna
making
start
your
calling
own
him Kitty.
plays and just shooting it from the 3.
Right. You ain't no cat, you a kitty until you get it done. Good morning, AP Coulter. Hey, we got Carlos Coronado checking in from the West Coast. He says he's only 22, and people forget Kyrie still and always been real, just not Edwards' time yet, in my opinion. So, Carlos, are you saying that, hey, he still has face of the league potential? Because if I'm John Morant, I'm sitting there with my daughter like, oh, yeah, just let me get back on the court in October. Just let me get back on the court. I'm gonna have my whole squad back with me. And this Minnesota team looks really beatable. Or let's do this. Let's go over to the Dallas side because we want to make sure that they get their flowers. This wasn't just Minnesota dropping the ball. Dallas is going in there snatching souls. This is their 4th straight road playoff win, which is the most they've had since they last won the title in 2011. Like you said about their bigs are physical. Kyrie and Luka have been basically unguardable. I was on record a few weeks ago as saying that Luka Doncic is the best player in the world right now, and he would have been my vote for MVP. But the straw that's stirring the drink here in this playoff run has been Kyrie. Kyrie has been focused. He's been committed. He's played tough. He hadn't done anything off the court. He hadn't embarrassed himself or his family or the organization or the league. He's been a model citizen down here in Dallas. Now, Tasha, we kind of broached this subject in the chat earlier this week, but I want to ask you officially on wax. What do you think KD is saying as he's sitting back watching this version of Kyrie get loose in Dallas?
Y'all know that Denzel meme when he was Malcolm X and he was slamming the table?
Oh, yeah.
That's what KD is doing. And I've been looking at a lot of the sports talk and whatnot, and they're saying, oh, they're debating whether or not Kyrie has saved his career or whatever. And you and I have always said this. You can go back and look at previous shows. Kyrie's ball skills have never been depleted.
Right.
Never.
Right.
It was this. Now you can draw your conclusions as to why he's a more calmer, why his demeanor has changed.
Right.
All I'm going to say is, again, dealing with someone who has mental issues, sometimes you need to take that pill, and sometimes that pill works. I'm not saying that that's what he's doing, but hey, it helps. But I just think had he been this Kyrie in Brooklyn with KD and James Harden, I think it would have been a different outcome.
KD would have another ring.
Huh?
KD would have another ring. They would have beat Giannis, who went on to win the championship that year. They would have beat Giannis. It wouldn't even been close. And if you're LeBron, you really got to be having a side eye because they could have ran that team back in 2017 and 18. With that Kyrie? Now, Carlos.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, Carlos, it's too early in the morning to start with me because you know my trigger points. Saying Ja can take a back seat, Edwards is the new face.
Let me tell you something. They're only mentioning him because he's literally out here carrying Minnesota on his back.
Right.
That is why I didn't really like the Jordan comparisons per se.
You were on record saying that, correct?
Because he actually has help at this point in his career. At Jordan's point in his career, he didn't have no damn help.
Right.
So I don't like that comparison with Jordan. But another thing with Kyrie, like you alluded to, with LeBron, I don't know. That's when the ship started sinking for Kyrie, is when he wanted out of Cleveland. Then you get to Boston, you walking around Sage in the locker room and shit.
Right. I forgot about that. Right.
But even though, like I said, even though now, I call him Little Moccasin, and that's not to be derogatory because he has Native American heritage, and he's shown up to the game with his shoes that
he had them on last night
to his Native American heritage.
Right.
But whatever he's doing, I like it. And I'm glad because he is too talented of a person to let, for all that to go to waste because he didn't want to seek help or receive the help. That again, my opinion, but that's what it's looking like to me. He's finally receiving some help.
And so is Luka. because Luka has been this Luka since he entered the league. When he
Since
was in
I
the
was calling him
bubble,
fat ass.
right. When he was in the bubble, dropping dagger threes on the Clippers in his playoff debut, he was putting in work at that point. He just didn't have the necessary pieces around him. But let's also give some flowers to Jason Kidd, who's done a masterful job of coaching this team and managing the team's minutes, and to their general manager Rico, who put together a team. It took them a couple of years to figure out how to best place pieces around Luka for that team to ultimately flourish. And it looks like they've unlocked it with some bigs who don't require post presence, like passing the ball into the post and doing post moves. They can set picks, they can screen, and they looking like the Houston Cougars from the 80s with all these lobs.
So how's that working out for Milwaukee now, since y'all got rid of him when he wasn't there? When y'all claim he couldn't coach.
You saw Dallas. Y'all better lock this man up. I believe that he's going to get an extension because LA. They like to raid people. Yes, Carlos, your Lakers, which we're about to talk about in just a second. So you stay in there. But it's going to be interesting to see. Now we've seen enough playoff basketball this year to know that a 2-0 lead is not safe. Hell, Minnesota lost 3 in a row to Denver, and then won the last 2 to close them out, and won Game 7 on the road, down 20 in the third quarter. So it's not over yet, but to Tasha's point, the season is on the line Sunday night in Dallas, and the Mavericks. Luka's not the type that's going to play with his food.
No. He may not show up to the arena with it wrapped in foil, but he ain't going to play with it.
Right. And Dirk will be in the building. Nice Dirk reference. Now let's go over to the East for just a second. The Boston Celtics are up 2-0. The Indiana Pacers fumbled Game 1, got blown out in Game 2. Basically waved a white flag early in the fourth quarter, which Coach Carlisle drew some criticism for. Now, we saw the Pacers come back from down 0-2 to New York last round and come back and win. Do you see them doing that again against Boston, or is this thing over?
Boston is a different team, and they pretty much have all of their parts. I mean, except for Porzingis, which, I mean, they've been managing to win without Porzingis. So I'm thinking it's going to be a little bit more difficult hill to climb than it is for the Knicks, because, I mean, the Knicks were depleted. We
yes.
Not making excuses for them. I think had the Knicks been at full strength, I don't think Indiana would be there.
They would not be there.
It would be definitely the Knicks and the Celtics. But it's almost like Jaylen Brown is the go-to guy now for whatever reason. And I know people, he had gotten kind of disrespected because he didn't make an all-NBA team first, second, or third.
Right.
But kind of like right now, he's carrying that team.
Now, they wouldn't even be up 2-0 if not for his heroics in Game 1, hitting that 3 over Pascal Siakam to tie that game and send it into overtime, which Indiana, how in the world do you lose a game up 3 with the ball and all you need to do is secure the inbound pass and wait to get fouled?
And I tweeted out, damn, just as I was getting ready to go to sleep because I thought it was over. I was standing here in the kitchen. I had the remote in my hand.
Right.
And when he shot that 3 and it went in, I just put the remote down and sat back on the couch.
Right. Right. It's like, okay, now we got to do 10, 15 more minutes of this. Boston, I'm having a hard time reconciling this, Tasha, and help me talk through this. Boston hadn't even broken a sweat throughout these playoffs so far, and we're 3 rounds in. Is Boston far and away that much better a team, or is the East just that weak?
I always thought the East was the weaker because they got Miami, who was not up to full. They didn't have Jimmy Butler.
Right.
They played the Knicks, who were hampered with injuries. I think this is going.
Oh, it was Cleveland. It was Cleveland they had in the second round.
Cleveland.
Right. And Donovan Mitchell got hurt in that one.
Donovan Mitchell. You had Karis LeVert was out. You had 3 of their top players out.
Garrett Allen missed as well.
Yeah. So what did I say? I get confused sometimes. I think they've kind of had an easier route because most of the teams that they've been playing have not been up to full strength.
Right.
Not taking anything away from Jason Tatum, and I like what Coach Mazzulla is doing, but like Princess Boss in Purple Rain, you better kick ass tonight. It's time for them to get it in gear because they've been getting lucky, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And some people say, no, it's not luck, it's God. Yeah, it's by the grace of God. You guys are winning too, but it's also a little lady luck in there.
Right. There's Christians on both teams when we start talking about about
Right.
that part. Where we'll digress. I'm not sold on Boston because I'm not sold on Jason Tatum. We've been there, done that. He's starting to turn into the Josh Allen of the NBA, where every year his team is picked to win it all. Every year they get close, and every year there's a reason why they fumbled the ball at the goal line.
We ain't got no Josh Allen slander no more because he got my boy Keon Coleman. No more Josh Allen slander allowed.
There will be Josh Allen slander because he's on the cover of Madden. He's always the preseason favorite to win the Super Bowl, and they choke. What is in that water up in Buffalo? Did Mark Levy did he make a deal with the devil back in the early
Mark
90s?
Levy said, when I die, this franchise gonna die with me.
that like, oh my God, like talk about being a Cowboys fan, and at least they got 5 rings. I mean, at least they got some, they pinched one of the bitches. I mean, like, but no, I digress. To your point, Jaylen Brown has been the better player, I'm going to say, for the past few years over Jason Tatum. I would trust him more with the ball in his hands late in the game than I would Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is too cool for school. He doesn't sweat. He doesn't argue. He doesn't get on the officials. He doesn't get technical fouls. He's reading Rainbow. He's Sesame Street.
I'm not saying that I really have a problem with him not going back and forth with officials and doing that. But at some point, he's going to have to, okay, y'all know I love X-Men. This is a reference to Jean. And I remember when Professor X told Jean to let go, let it loose. When she turned it, when
right.
she was, It's going to be a time when he's going to have to let loose. He's going to have to let it out and be a little more aggressive. Like I said, not rude, not in the official's face, calling for fouls, because I hate players that do that kind of stuff. He's going to have to be a little more aggressive, especially if they make it past Indiana. If they get in the finals, whatever team they're playing out of the West, they're going to get knocked in the mouth.
In the mouth, early and often. I mean, if you look at the resumes of both Minnesota and Dallas, they've both shown that they can go into your house and snatch your heart out. Just look at Game 7 last Monday against Denver, the defending champions with the 3-time MVP on the court, and they walked them down from 20 down with about 15 minutes left to go in that game. Dallas,
you got head busters on both of those teams in the West.
Yes.
You don't.
Yes.
Boston really ain't got no head busters.
That's the problem. And that starts with Jason Tatum. You have to, Luka Doncic sets the tone for his team with his physical style of play, and he will chew you out on the court. If you're not in a spot you're supposed to be at when he drives and kicks, he's going to let you know about that. He's going to let the ref know, hey, you missed that call. He's going to get a tech. He might cuss out he might snatch a shoe like Kobe. He might punch you in the face in practice. Like
when Luka left the court, he told the fans, "Go home, bitch."
He told you, go get on up out of here. Go on, get. I love that. I want that out of my superstar. Ja Morant is like that. He is a dog. It's almost like Derrick Henry when he was in the playoffs against Baltimore a few years ago, and he stiff-armed Earl Thomas was like, "Come on, Earl. Come on, Earl." He told him, "Come on, Earl. I had 200 against Shaw." I want that type of superstar leading my team, and Luka has that, and a Kyrie that, although he's now Zen Kyrie, he's now a softer, gentler, kinder Kyrie. He may be the earth is round now, Kyrie, but he's a killer.
But Kyrie's game has never diminished.
He's a killer. Who's the better finisher at the rim? While we're talking about this, Kyrie or AI? Because Kyrie will get to that bucket and do something.
You ain't playing fair, but you ain't gonna get me on Al Gore's internet and say, "Hey, pick Kyrie over AI." You're not gonna do that.
Shouts out to Lil Statue and to Kyrie. Now,
I hurt myself.
No, you pulled up some chapstick last week, so you don't have no room to talk. All right, you pulled up some chapstick, and that was his. We got a little statue in the house. All right, now Carlos Coronado, I hope you still on, because I need you to chime in, Mr. Laker man, because let's just keep it real. We can gloss over this. We can, as the kids say, we can glaze LeBron with this. Good morning, Martrice Hastings. You're just in time for us to talk about the King. Now, We didn't talk about this when it first happened because there was some more pressing issues to discuss. But now it's time for us to talk through this, Tasha, because y'all know I'm a big LeBron fan. But LeBron James just fired Darvin Ham not too long ago after getting swept out of the playoffs back-to-back seasons by the Denver Nuggets. And for y'all that says that LeBron didn't fire him, miss me with that. I'm the biggest LeBron apologist and defender on the face of the earth. Tasha will co-sign that. But we all know that nobody goes without LeBron saying it's time for you to skedaddle. Now, this was several weeks ago. The Lakers still don't have a coach, but league sources are starting to say that J.J. Redick, ESPN analyst who calls the games for ABC and ESPN, is emerging as a front runner. But here's the kicker, Tasha. J.J. Redick and LeBron James do a podcast together. What type of message does this send if J.J. becomes the coach of the Lakers?
It sends a message that the Lakers don't know what the hell they doing. Do they not have another sibling other than Jeannie? Now, the other two was crooked, wasn't it? They
had to vote them up out the paint.
Okay, is it somebody? Where's Phil Jackson? Can him and Jeannie hook back up and he talk some sense into her? Now, again, no Rob Pelinka slander. Go blue.
Go blue.
But I don't know what's going on out there in La La Land. J.J. Redick is not the answer. Again, you have these more qualified people out here. I mean, the Cavs
like Darvin Ham.
I mean, the Cavs just fired J.B. Bickerstaff because they're saying that what's his name isn't happy.
Donovan Mitchell, Spider-Man,
isn't happy with him. Now, what if you? Okay, let me go back to Cleveland before I get back to the Lakers. So you get rid of J.B. Bickerstaff. Y'all still ain't signed Donovan Mitchell to no kind of long-term extension. What if he done had y'all fire this man and then he up jumps the boogie and go to another team? Then y'all sitting there looking stupid.
Right. And Cleveland has been there before because they fired a coach and then LeBron still left when they let go of Mike Brown.
Exactly. I hate when they let these players control what's going on in their organization. Right. Last I checked, y'all pay them. Now they make you money, but y'all pay them. Now, a player the caliber of LeBron does have the right to voice his opinion. But when you out here on doing a podcast with a coaching candidate, this ain't the nepotism that I'm looking for when it comes to you and your son. Because I'm all for that because we do know different hues do that and don't nobody say nothing. So, hey, if he's using his nepotism to get his son in the league, I'm okay. But you can't use your nepotism to get somebody who ain't qualified to be no head coach to run that organization.
Zero coaching experience. And to back up just a bit before we get to my next question, Darvin Ham, y'all went to the playoffs 2 years in a row. You made it to the Western Conference Finals last year.
With a bum-ass AD, street clothes, never playing, team ain't really coming together. That, again, I hate.
And you ran into a buzzsaw in Denver. Denver beat everybody 2 years ago.
Exactly. I hate when the team loses, they automatically put it on the coach. Okay, he can only coach what's out there. If you got your quote-unquote supposed to be star player in his damn street clothes, two or three times out of the week, what do you expect him to do? He can only coach what's out there.
Right. Now, Langston says, is that hue or absence of hue? Langston, don't you start this morning, but that was a bar. And I think that circled above people's heads and will land right on their shoulder. Exactly. And the thing is, I have no problem with that because regardless of your hue, if you're a parent, you're going to do what you think is best for your child and help them in any way that you can. I don't have a problem with that. Do what you have to do for your children. But in regard to the Lakers and tying this back into what you said about JB Bickerstaff, is coaching LeBron worth the headache in 2024?
No. Like, I don't know how the coaches' contracts are. So, like, when the coach gets fired, they do get a buyout, right? They
their money is pretty much guaranteed, just like the players.
I mean, well, shit, if I'm down on my luck, I'll be like, yeah, I do this for 2 years. He ain't gonna be in here this long, and then I get fired and I get my pay. Because that's what your boy doing. They used to coach the Raiders. They got caught with the emails.
Gruden. Right, John Gruden. Yeah, and that's exactly. Right, and that's exactly why I believe it was Jason Kidd that turned down the Lakers job a few years ago because he wouldn't get a 5-year deal. They wanted to give him like a 3-year deal. He's like, now y'all know good and damn well LeBron gonna get rid of me after 2 years. I need to get paid for all 5 of them. Like y'all, y'all not gonna do me like that. Good morning, Miss Hastings. Good morning, everyone checking in. We got a full house on deck as we talk LeBron and NBA coaching jobs. Is this the most volatile position in all of American employment? NBA head coach of a superstar?
Yes, because it's difficult because these owners are always going to cater to the superstars because the superstars are what's putting the asses in the seats.
Correct.
I mean, so you can't deny that LeBron is always going to be a must see. Which is why, like, oh God, who was I watching? It was The Pivot, and they had a guest on there. Oh my God, I can't think of his name right now. But he was saying, oh God, what's it? Oh, DeMar DeRozan, and
okay.
he was saying how he doesn't like the resting,
the load management. Yeah,
and it's like, and we've discussed this too. Like you pay for a ticket to see your superstar, and your superstar is load manage that particular game. Right. That's going to upset the fans. Right. What generates money for the owners too is the ticket sales. You got to have them asses in them seats to generate money on that end too. Like I said with the WNBA, that's why they're pushing so much of this Caitlin Clark, and they're happy that these are selling out because that's at the end of the day, that's making the owners money as well by selling those tickets. Right. But it's hard when you have a superstar who is basically running the team. Yeah, we knew Jordan was pretty much kind of running the Bulls to a certain extent, but Krause wasn't having that. Like Jordan could only say so much.
Tasha, it was called The Last Dance for a reason. He said, look here, I don't give a damn if y'all go 82-0, Phil Jackson. You ain't coming back next year. So when Jordan went out there with no one had more leverage than Michael Jordan in the year of 1997. Nobody had more leverage than him in all of sports, and he could not bring back Phil Jackson. That's how it got down back then. Jerry Krause was like, I'm going to go to my grave making this call. You out of here. Go on to Washington, go on to wherever you're going.
So that's what I'm saying. You muddy the waters when you let your stars start dictating what you as an organization want, need, or are going to do.
Right. I just think this will be a disaster if JJ Redick, and no disrespect to JJ Redick, I don't know if he'll be a good coach or not. He's never coached at that level, but that's going to be a disaster when you got a guy that was on a podcast with your star player prior to Darvin Ham being fired. He was doing podcasts with LeBron back before the playoffs started, talking about strategies and things of that nature. You got Anthony Davis saying that sometimes we look like we don't know what we're doing on the court out there after a playoff loss to Denver, and then now you bring in the guy that's basically been criticizing and critiquing your team. Is he being fed information by LeBron? I would be giving a serious side eye to that if I'm D'Angelo Russell, or if I'm Austin Reeves, or if I'm one of the ancillary pieces on the Lakers team that don't have a say like a LeBron would, or even to an AD to that extent.
I mean, it would, to me, like I said, as my aunt always says, it's a dead cat on the line somewhere. I don't know.
No, like you said, Lady Bird got the other players mad as hell. We're about to talk about that in just a second. And as a matter of fact, let's just get right to it.
Why somebody say the white Luca? But okay.
Luquette. Okay, Luquette. I ain't mad at you, Luquette. Do your thug thistle. Now, it was a huge week in the WNBA for two of their most polarizing young stars, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Earlier in the week, Reese and her Chicago Storm went in and knocked off the juggernaut undefeated New York Liberty without two of their best players. And Angel Reese tweeted after the game and caused a lot of heat with that. And then last night, Caitlin Clark, everybody can finally exhale. Caitlin Clark, she put the team on her back in the waning moments of that game, hit a dagger go-ahead three. They got their first win of the year in front of a sold-out crowd in LA, a nice place to do it if you're going to get your first win.
They were oversold because they said that arena only held 18,000 plus, and it was like 19,000, a little over 19,000.
There were 19,000 at the Minnesota game last night. So that's the Caitlin Clark effect, and good for them that they got their first win because y'all I'm getting exhausted by these Caitlin Clark fans on social media. I'm being exhausted by it. But let me start with this question here to Langston's point when he says Lady Bird got the other players mad as hell. I disagree with that, but I want to start with you with this particular question, and then we'll go from here. Who is more criticized right now in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese?
Now, this is the question, and you have to ask the right way. Do you mean within the WNBA or as a whole? Because there's a difference.
Look, I want you to explain the difference because that's where I'm going with this. I knew we would be kind of simpatico with this. Go ahead and just give your overarching thought, and then we'll parse it from there.
Because within the WNBA, Caitlin Clark is definitely receiving more hate and more vitriol. And it ain't from us. It's from girls who look like her, who are dishing the most hate towards her. But overall, if you would say outside, it would be Angel Reese because Angel Reese is unapologetically Black. She's not, she is a beautiful Black girl, beautiful Black queen, beautiful Black woman. And she's not going to change up her style for anybody. Like I told you, she's like Sha'Carri Richardson.
That's an excellent point.
How, I was one that was kind of offset by, it's not what Sha'Carri was saying, it's the way she was saying it that kind of put me off. And I told you now, it's toned down, but she's still being herself. It's more of a confidence and not an arrogance thing now. And with Angel, it's always been a confidence thing. It's never been an arrogant type thing.
Oh, I will push back on the arrogance part. I will push back on that part.
I think the arrogance came into play when everybody started going in on her. That's when the arrogance started coming out, because
the arrogance started with this.
That's what I'm saying. When everybody started coming for her, because like had she did that and nobody said anything, it wouldn't have been a thing. But everybody started coming in on her. And what do most people do when you come at them? They're going to give you that pushback, because I damn sure am. I'm going to give you that pushback. And so that's what she did.
I think everybody that's watching will do that as well. Or if not, you're going to be in for a long ride in life if you're going to just let people push you over and stomp all over
Caitlin, you have there are more girls throughout the world, young girls in the United States that look like Caitlin Clark who are in her same position. So the women in the WNBA, I mean, it's almost kind of like you need to shut up and be appreciative for what you're getting right now. But I understand them when they say they were out here struggling, playing hard, trying to put this league on their back, trying to grow the league. And then you got somebody new, some young whippersnapper coming in here that ain't did a damn thing, and until last night hadn't won a game, but she's getting all the endorsements. She just got to sign an endorsement with Wilson, and the last player to do that was one Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Right, and she's going to have her own ball coming out this summer.
Right, and then you think about it, how they have to go overseas and play. She ain't got to do nothing but chill after the offseason. She ain't got to go over to Russia. She ain't got to go over to Italy. She don't have to go to anywhere to play ball because she has her million. She's making more this year than most of the other women in WNBA have made their entire careers. So there is a little vitriol there.
Yeah, it's you might actually in the off season in the wintertime, you actually might get picked up in an Uber by a WNBA player. I mean, they need that side money. They need the side money. Now, Stephanie Coulter checks in. She says social media and the media pushes a narrative to keep us criticizing both of them with everything they do. They both get a lot of criticism, some necessary, some just blogs pushing mess. Stephanie, you just stole my thunder, because my answer to the question of who gets criticized more, Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, is yes. That's my yes. They both get criticized.
Like I said, to your point, more from within the WNBA, Angel gets it as a whole. But like they don't ever point out the stuff that Angel is doing to make money as well. They only put out there, oh, Caitlin signed this. How many people actually know that Angel Reese just bought or is co-owner of a women's soccer team. Nobody knows that. They're not pushing that narrative out there.
Right. Now, okay, here we go. Here we go. Now we're about to get to it. Now he says, Lord, I digress in my Paul voice because in my job I am paid to find the root issue. The underlying issue is deeper. Well, let me push back on that for a second and allow me a second on that because I think I know where you're going with this. And with everything, this is America. So of course there's a racial component to everything that we do. And it's just interwoven into the fabric of this country. It will be that way when all of us are in the upper room. It will be that way when our children's children are walking this earth. That's just undeniable. But let's take a look at this from a pragmatic standpoint. If you're in the WNBA, it's just like this is their job. Their job is to go out there and bust somebody in the head. Their job is to be the most competitive. You don't get to the professional level of any sport by not being competitive, by not wanting to be the best at what you do. There are only 12 teams. There are only limited positions available for the WNBA. Those players get cycled through. Again, to the point we made a couple of months ago, the average salary is less than what y'all make on your 9-to-5s. It's like $60,000. The majority of you watching now, probably all of you watching now, make more than that. Is a combined household at least. So when you look at a player, just like any job, if you go on your job Tuesday and your boss comes in and says, "Hey, we got this hot shot intern that just graduated from college. We want you to roll out the red carpet for her. We want you to train her. We want you to give her all of your nuggets. We want you to kind of roll over and let her take on some of your projects so that we can one day promote her to be your boss." Whether she's black, white, Creole, Wakandan, Japanese, Vietnamese, you're going to be like, what? You're going to go home and have a talk with your spouse or significant other like, hey, you know what they just asked me to do at work today? Like, you're not thinking about 10 years down the line how it may impact your pockets. You're thinking, oh, this lady's about to take my damn job. Or this guy's about to take my job. So let's have an honest and real conversation about this quote-unquote perceived hate from the WNBA, which – to my knowledge, I have not heard any player come out and say anything disparaging about her. Now, what Diana Taurasi and Cheryl Swoops said about her was back when she was still at Iowa, saying that she would have a tough time transitioning to the
but
WNBA.
That resonates over, Pawn. You know good and damn well that does, because those are two strong voices within women's basketball, period. So you know that, and they were probably just two of the few who just said it out loud. But a lot of them other women are thinking that. Yeah,
no, I get that. But I think that for a Charles Barkley to come on national TV and call those women petty is out of bounds. Because what? In 1993, did you just lay down and let Michael Jordan have the title, or did you try to take his head off? Like, all right, Stephanie says, I truly believe that both of these young women are going to play a part in helping change. Yes. I totally agree.
But they helped each other to blow up. Now, don't get me wrong. Caitlin was kind of already doing her thing the year before. People were kind of like, okay, look at her game. But the actual blow up, they basically helped each other. You know, it's kind of like we said with the Bird and Magic thing. Even it goes like maybe to a Steph and LeBron thing, when you have basically two different demographics of fans who are coming together because of these two polar opposite players.
Right. We have said this numerous times on the show, and this was playing out for us in real time. When you are a polarizing athlete that causes non-sports fans to pick a side, you are going to be box office in the ratings department. What Angel Reese is to Caitlin Clark, I'm going to liken it to what Kanye West did to Taylor Swift, when he went up there and disrespected her and snatched her moment away when she won that award, and he got up there and said, no, that should have been Beyonce. That galvanized her fan base. Who the hell does Kanye think he is disrespecting this young lady? She ain't did nothing to him. It was the same thing with the I got the ring and I'm gonna do you like this in the national championship game, where Caitlin Clark, casual fans, was like, oh hell no, like no, don't. Why are you out here doing all of this? Now I'm really rooting for for her to come out here and cook your ass this next go around. That is great for the league. That is great for the league. I love it. I love Caitlin Clark letting it talk on the court. I love Angel Reese doing it through social media, because she keeps the WNBA in the mouths of people when games aren't being played just because of her social media presence. Go ahead.
But even going back to what you were saying about it being, they said that when she was in college. Breanna Stewart set a screen so hard on her.
I saw that. It was a legal screen, though.
It was legal. And you saw when Sabrina Ionescu, when she whack and shot over her and did.
Yeah.
Them girls not saying that they don't like Caitlin Clark as a person. A lot of those women in the WNBA are not feeling the hype that she is getting. And like I said, they may not be saying it, but I ain't never seen Stewie set no screen that hard at UConn.
Right.
I ain't never seen Stewie do that. Stewie damn near, she basically decleated her.
Right, that was a decleater. That was a you got jacked up. Remember that segment on Monday Night Football? This is a great conversation with a lot of tentacles attached to it. I think to Stephanie's point that I want to go back to, that she says that she truly believes, and I'm going to get to you in just a second, Langston, when she says, I truly believe both of these young ladies are going to play a part in helping change how we view the WNBA. There's a caveat with how the WNBA is set up that I love for both Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. And here's what I mean. The WNBA playoffs are the top 8 teams, regardless of conference, make the postseason.
Which is what the NBA needs to do, and throw that damn stupid ass play-in tournament in the garbage. Continue.
Get it out of here. I totally agree with you on that. But the fact that when I first looked and saw that they were both in the Eastern Conference, meaning Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, I was like, dang, they're not going to get to play in the finals against each other like Bird and Magic did. However, with the top 8 teams making the conference playoffs, regardless of your conference affiliation, you can have several years of Angel and Caitlin meeting for the championship. That's what the league needs. Now, everybody talk about script writing and all of that stuff. That's what you need, because they need each other. Magic needed Bird. Bird needed Magic to get the NBA finals off a tape delay. They needed each other. They needed to. They both had a foil.
The Fever are going, they're not going to never be in anybody's playoff. And I misspoke. Teresa Witherspoon is the coach of Chicago, so she is actually Angel's coach. If the Fever don't start winning, they may need a coaching change. If they don't start winning, it'll never get to the point where you can have them being the Bulls and the Pistons, or the Pistons and the Celtics, in that East rivalry, not, one team having to beat the other to get to the top of the mountain.
Right. Langston makes a very poignant point. He says, if we talk strictly basketball, would we be talking about her WNBA start if she was black? The only reason we're talking about her is the financial impact she has made. Going back to the, hey, y'all being petty, she's about to make y'all money. Y'all need to shut up and let her win. The reason she has had an impact is the discussion. It's not like she has scored the most points per game as a rookie to start. To Tasha's point, and she said this a couple of weeks ago, oh my God, her the UT lady, Candace Parker, she was league MVP her rookie year, and they still voted her most overrated. This isn't unprecedented to Caitlin Clark.
Voted that girl most. Oh, these are her peers. This is after she had left LA and she was playing in Chicago. They voted her the most overrated player after she was rookie of the year and MVP. Her
and won 3 chips. Right, and then went on to win 3 chips, but she's the most overrated. So this isn't necessarily a race thing. This is a rookie hazing thing when it comes to WNBA players hating. But because that's the ultimate hate.
No. I'm going to kind of lean towards Langston too, because y'all know how I am. I don't care if you like it. I do think race plays just a small part.
It would be naive to suggest otherwise.
It would be naive to suggest otherwise. But the thing is, the only reason why I'm going to push back on what Langston's saying is because you have had Black women who have been the number 1 pick to go in and bring bam and pizzazz. Like you had Cheryl Swoops was pizzazz. Candace Parker shown damn enough was pizzazz. Right. I mean, but you even look at the white girl. Breanna Stewart was pizzazz when she came in. Diana Taurasi was pizzazz. But even though they had won all of those championships at Connecticut, I don't think that they were put up on a pedestal like Caitlin Clark. So this goes back to Langston's point. she ain't won shit. She didn't win no national championship while she was in Iowa. You had the girls from South Carolina. They won national championships. Why isn't Camila Cardoza the face? She won a national championship.
And
Angel,
a pretty face at that.
Exactly.
Marketable.
Angel Reese is because, like I said, the whole her and Caitlin Clark dynamic. I am inclined to believe that if she was because if it was Angel Reese coming in like this, if the roles were reversed, I don't think she would be getting.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe it's because she's quiet and she doesn't really. I don't know. That's a hard one.
Now, I agree with you, but I don't think that that's unprecedented. And I think that it works both ways because we didn't give a damn about golf until Tiger Woods came on the scene. And we did that. We were like, I'm watching Tiger. I don't know nothing about no par. I don't know what a birdie is. I don't know what an eagle is. I don't understand the score.
Like I always say, even though Tiger don't fool with us, if Tiger is in the tournament, if Tiger is in the tournament, we watch it. I mean, look who he locked out of his house. It wasn't one of us.
That's right. But even with the Williams sisters, when we watching Wimbledon, when the Williams sisters weren't in it,
I was because Steffi Graf is my favorite tennis player.
Well, but you are a sports savant. We're talking about the casual fan. Well, the casual fan watching, no, and so it works both ways. And I do think that it's good for the sport for casual fans that follow Caitlin Clark in the flyover states to be fully invested in the WNBA. It's great for the league. It's great for the brand. I'm rooting for her to win. I want her to win the rest of her games this year, her being Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. I need them to be 1 and 2 in the standings so they can be in opposite playoff brackets because the world wants to see them go at it for the NBA Finals. Now, Langston is cooking this morning. He says, okay, break down the increase in ratings by race and see what the percentages are. Break down ticket sales and see what the percentages are. I am done. Perfect analogy with Tiger. He agrees with that. Good morning, Marion. Good morning. So yeah, he's watched to see. We all do this, and the thing is, me and Tasha have been consistent when we said that we don't care if you pick your side. Pick your side. Pop your ish, as Tasha would say. Pop your ish. Pick your side. If you want to see Caitlin go out there and cook them sisters, and she go out there and cook them, hey, toot your horn, toot, because it makes people watch. Just like to Stephanie's point, beef equals ratings. Beef equals ratings. Kendrick Lamar is number 1 on Billboard because he was beefing with Drake, not because he's the best rapper in the world. Go ahead, Tasha.
But like Langston said, John McEnroe did act the donkey. Him and Jimmy Connors and him and Beyond Board back in the
those
day.
were some great matches. Him and Connor. Some great matches. I really do think that the hate will continue between those two. I think that once one wins a championship, all of the pressure is going to go on the other to do so. I think the fact that like to your point, them having two diametrically opposed personalities, one is very outspoken, very brash. The other one is a lot more docile, a lot more, hey, I'm going to just let my play speak on the court. She doesn't really post on social media. I think that covers a wide demographic of fans to tune in and watch. Whether you want to see Caitlin lose or whether you want to see her win, you're going to tune in. Go ahead.
I mean, but like Langston was calling her Lady Bird, we always say Larry Bird wasn't with that bullshit either. You know,
Larry Bird threw hands with Dr. J.
I just watched a clip of Larry Bird beating the shit out of Bill Laimbeer. I just literally
threw the ball at him.
Right. So I don't think. I mean, she may be like Larry Bird-esque when it comes to play style, but she ain't Larry Bird. Larry Bird wasn't gonna play with you.
You just saw Charles Barkley on Club Shay Shay when he was talking about why Dr. J and Larry Bird got into a fight because Larry was in his jaw talking about, get this old ass man off me.
Dr. J. Oh.
Like Larry Bird was dotting I's and crossing T's on his way to 3 straight MVPs and 3 championships. He was that one. And even during his greatness, remember how much heat that Isaiah Thomas got after Rodman said that if he was just a black player, he'd be just another player in the league. The league almost came to his knees after he said that in the 80s.
But it was the truth. It was the truth.
Larry Bird would have been just another player if he was black? You really saying that on TV right now?
Come on. Where did he play? Let's just start there.
I
Where
disagree.
did he play? A black man in Boston playing like that would have been like, eh. And then when Magic came out, it wouldn't have been that because it would have been black on black. You know, they like to see a black on black.
Stop it. Stop it. Look, okay. I'm saying that if he was black, he would still have been a 3-time MVP and a 3-time champion, is what I'm saying. His skill set, the way he shot the ball in that era.
I mean, yeah.
He would have still, because he was a killer on the court. He did it all. He says, okay, in this politically sensitive times, you don't think it is their tendency to root base race? Wait for Trump to say something. Biden's wife already tried it. Yeah. But again, if you're the WNBA and the NBA to a large extent, because they own 50% of the WNBA, you let them chat. Let Stephen A. and Molly and them get to arguing on First Take every morning about this. Let the extra point get people engaged in the comments. Because if you look at the comments section on any post regarding Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, they duking it out.
Yeah.
You can put your head in the sand all you want, but they duking it out. And it drives engagement.
Like, I can be a fan of each other. There you go, Steph. But it's when the hatred comes in. Like, remember, I bring this up a few times. Like, not that I was just the biggest Lindsay Davenport fan. You guys don't know Lindsay Davenport. She's a tennis player. Of course, I always, I wanted her to do well. But when I stopped liking her is when she was the main one that was pushing the theory that Venus and Serena were on steroids.
Them hind parts were so stacked, though. That was some.
Because of their naturally built physiques, which a lot of us possess, that natural physique. That's just that natural muscle tone that just happens naturally. That's when I kind of stopped, rooting for her, because there was no need for you to say that. So that's my thing. I can root for either side. But when you come in with all this vitriol and this hatred towards either side is when you lose me as a fan. You lose me. Now, because, we get on here, and of course, I always say, I always bet on black, and I'm always going to bet on black. But
can you put the rest of that caveat in there? Because people don't understand that there's a extra part to that caveat with the always bet on black that most people miss that should be stated right now. Unless what?
I always bet on black until black embarrasses me.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure that that's out there, because I think we got a lot of first-time viewers today that we want to make sure that we capture that part, because Tasha will bang on you regardless of what color you are if you out here cutting up.
If y'all been watching this show, y'all know I don't like Deshaun Watson.
Among many others. Like, he's just one.
Many others who are black, I don't like him. But I digress.
Right. So I just wanted to make sure that wasn't a clip that somebody could run with and just use that in a vacuum, because go ahead.
But I like good sports in general.
Yes.
I like to watch when Caitlin Clark set the first NCAA record against Michigan. What did I do, Paul? I took a screenshot, sent it to the group, and said, I just watched history. Did I not? I was on Peacock Network watching her. It was like her first and second shot, and she broke the record against Michigan. And then the other record, when she broke the all-time, the NCAA Division I scoring record, I watched that too, because I wanted to see it happen. Like, no one is rooting against Caitlin. Well, I mean, some are. I'm not rooting.
Some are, but that's sports. Everybody don't like LeBron, and that's okay.
Right. I'm not rooting against her, but I don't like when the narrative is Angel Reese is trash. Because she's not.
Or right. The attacks of I think the main line in the sand with those two are the attacks on Caitlin Clark is more of exhaustion from the fan base attacking the other side, and it's more of a defensive stand. The attack on Angel Clark is just pure. I just don't like it.
It's personal.
It's very personal. When she posted her graduation.
Like how they were saying she didn't play because her grades went up to par. She just graduated.
Right. And then she said, now say what? And they were still killing her in the comments. Like, they call her a lot of ugly names. Now, I wanted to leave this up here for Langston, because Langston did play at a high level. He says, I pulled the video that was titled CPA versus the most hated school in Tennessee, PCH. Pardon me if I look at it from my experience. That's exactly why we value your opinion on the show, and for everyone in the Goon Squad, and everyone has a free license to comment on their experiences, because it's our experiences that shape our thoughts. It's our thoughts that shape the conversation, and it's our conversations that shape shows like this. So we love the fact that you're being totally transparent right now. And we went to school with you, Langston. We understand that. AP checking in. She says, Tasha's an equal opportunity praise and basher when earned.
Yes. Thank you, Mother Culture. For the haters out there that think that I'm a race baiter, that I don't ever root for anybody white. How many black people you know sit up here and I've been watching the hockey playoffs. Like, man, come on.
For real. You can get it. Just go back and on our Facebook wall and type in Ja Morant and look at those shows pull up.
I ate Ja Morant up because he was acting
I was
damn
so mad at you during that month. I was so mad at you. We were having paragraph-long arguments because I was so sensitive
and how
about
many
her
times
getting
have
on
I
my
put my cape on for Larry Legend? Ain't nobody going to, when you ask me who's better between KD and Larry Bird, what do I always say?
He said Larry Bird, and everybody on here knows that KD is one of your favorite players of all time. I love it. Wait a minute. Langston says, but you bet on black, your money is where your heart is. And if you bet on white, come on into the conversation. If you say, hey, I want to see Caitlin Clark cook those sisters, you have a seat at our barbecue.
Right,
you have a seat at the picnic table. Come on in.
Let me go back a little bit to tell you guys where the always bet on black reference comes from.
I'm glad you're doing this.
It's a gambling reference. Whenever someone says they're going to Vegas, I always tell them, put 20 on black for me.
And Wesley Snipes.
The other color is red. So I just say, hey, put 20 on black for me. So that's where that came from, because I always bet when I used to go to Vegas, when I would gamble, I would always bet on the black. That's where that came from. It has nothing to do with race. Of course, I'm going to push my race because that's what I am, or my, whatever. But it's not anything like, I don't like white people. I don't like Hispanic people. Or I don't like European. It has nothing to do with that. So let's just throw that out. But I'm going to always bet on black.
Right. I just wanted to make sure that you had a chance to eloquate that, because sometimes I think people get that misconstrued and take that beyond the realm of sports. And, we cut up 60-second videos and people don't really get a chance to get the full story on that. And some of that is on me because I put it out there to bait y'all into conversation, and it works. So thank y'all for doing that.
I know where that comes from. So it wasn't like it was just a need to explain it.
Speaking of bet on white, Justin Harges is back in the chat. What's up, my man?
You mean, Justin? I'll be down there in October. What's up?
Right. What's really good? We need to all hang out when she comes down in October. Maybe watch the Chiefs beat up on somebody, since they're always beating people. And
I ain't watching the Chiefs beat up on nobody.
Oh, you know what? I hope they play San Fran that week, because we can all meet up at the Buffalo Wild Wings and just get to it. You know what I'm saying? That would be great.
That would be great. At this point, it's all about your jealousy. That's what's showing is your jealousy.
My Cowboys ain't been to a NFC Championship game in 28 years. I had a high top fade and cross color outfit on the last time there was any relevance at all.
It was doing the starter commercial.
Right. Right. That was rough. So yes, there's a huge part of me that hates on Tasha because her team is always in the mix, and my Titans and my Cowboys are always giving me headaches. The NFL should bring Kenny, don't I got to review these first. Stop it. We're the only ones that have to over-explain why we're supporting our own people, but that's another convo. I got it. And all that conversation is welcome, but like I said, I don't care if you root for Caitlin Clark because she's white. Bring it on. Just watch the show. Get in the comments and says, I hope she cooked them sisters and do Angel like this. Like,
do y'all not think that I'm enjoying watching Luka, even though I called him fat ass for 5 years? Do y'all not think I'm enjoying watching Luka? Do y'all really think I'm not enjoying him out here giving it to these brothers? Do y'all think I'm not enjoying that?
Luka is ice cold. He is Vanilla Ice. I think that's his new name for this rest of the playoffs. Is Vanilla Ice because he's ice, baby. Too cold, too
No, we're
cold.
not
I
going to
love
do
his
it with
game.
Henry Van Winkle. We're not going to do that.
Oh, wow. Well, he's from Texas, too. So shouts out to him and Dallas, Texas. Now, Tasha, I'm glad you transitioned us back into Luka because Luka and Kyrie are putting themselves on the pantheon of all-time great NBA duos. And I'm talking all-time great. If they can finish this off with a championship, then I think that they entered the chat of that discussion. But for now, do they make Tasha T. Sizzle's top 5 NBA duos of all time? The floor is yours.
Okay, guys. Sometimes I do my homework when Paul gives it to me. Sometimes. Okay, so of course I have Jordan and Pippen.
Yes.
These in no particular order. And again, who was one of my favorite players in the Stockton and Malone. I love John Stockton, and I don't care what he says, what he does. I love John Stockton. I got Larry Bird and Kevin McHale.
Yes, gotta add those two. Gotta add them.
I have the list. It was kind of hard to narrow it down to 5 because I also have Magic and Kareem on there from the early 80s. Of course, I have
the same so far.
And then I have Shaq and Kobe.
Yes.
But to get it to modern times, I have Murray and Jokic.
Really? Now, this is a hot take. Really?
Just for modern times.
Okay. For modern times.
And then I also had on the list, man, I had LeBron and Kyrie. If Kyrie would have, when we were talking about this earlier, I was like, please, Paul, stop talking because you're going to make me start talking. If Kyrie had stayed in Cleveland, LeBron wouldn't have never left.
No, he wouldn't have never left. And they would be Golden State with the 4 and 5 years or the 4 and 6 years and all of that. Nobody was beating that team. Nobody.
It wouldn't have been no need for no Sage.
Right. It was, but he didn't want to be in LeBron's shadow, and he threatened to have surgery to start the season and miss the whole season if they didn't trade him to Boston, which LeBron
turned out to be a disaster.
Right. So that's I'm literally getting a phone call during the show. This is hilarious because you know good and damn well I am doing a live podcast right now. Tasha, you left off two that I will never forgive you for. And I'm going to just say it right here on wax. You left off Isaiah and Joe Dumars. Wow.
Oh, no, they're on my list.
Oh, okay. All right. Because
now, you know my bad boy Pistons going to always make an appearance on this list. I actually, to be funny, I actually have Isaiah Thomas lined up with everybody. Then I have in parentheses the bad boys of the 80s and the 90s.
Right. Yeah, Kenny Man says it's smooth with Kyrie because Kyrie's mature now. He's flowing with Luka, and he is flowing with Luka. And I love the fact that he's deferring to Luka as the face of the franchise, and he just wants to get another championship. It has been a perfect marriage. But back to Isaiah and Joe Dumars, ladies and gentlemen, let's not get this misunderstood by any stretch of the imagination. That duo is the only duo in NBA history to knock off Bird, Magic, and Michael all in their primes. Give them their flowers. Give them their flowers.
To this day, that is the main reason I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. It's because of the Bad Boys.
That documentary, 30 for 30 on ESPN is fire. If you haven't seen it, make sure you do some research on that Bad Boys team. Jalen Rose, who is a Michigan native himself, a Detroit native himself, said it best. They bridged the gap between the golden eras of the 80s and the Michael Jordan era of the 90s. They bridged that gap. They were the holdover while Jordan was ascending to the point to where he could take the mantle from Magic and Bird after Barcelona in 92 and then run with the league from there. But it was the Bad Boy Pistons that stood in the gap and knocked them all out of the box.
That is the reason why I hated the Celtics. It had nothing to do with the players on that team. It's because I was a Pistons fan. That is the main reason why I hate Michael Jordan.
We're going to end with that because the fact that you said I hate Michael Jordan, I'm going to just end it there because you know I do too. Truly the Bad Boys. Yes, AP Culture. You remember we watched those finals together when they finally got off tape delay, and because we couldn't stay up late and watch it when we were kids. The NBA finals will come on at 11:30 after the
we even know that was on tape delay. No. We just
No,
watched it.
because there wasn't nobody had tapes. Nobody had a
We had a
VCR.
VHS had just become a thing. We had Betamax.
Right. Oh, wow. You went way back. He said, after Celtics and them Lucky Charms. Yeah, Boston catching strays. Watch them tonight on ABC at 7:30 against Indiana. They'll go up 3-0 and get the Pacers on out the paint. Tasha, who you shouting out this week?
Oh, man. See, I did my homework. I forgot to write my shout-outs down. Y'all know this mind, this brain ain't what it used to be.
It's as good as it ever been.
Because Tiffany sent me a message. Tiffany asked me, how was this person? And I said, who is that? And she said, there your ass go again. She said, you don't know no damn body. She said, eventually it's going to be, who is Tiffany?
Because I don't know. She's pretty unforgettable.
Tiffany will often ask me if I know this person. And I'll be like, no. And she'll be like, how the hell you don't know this person? Because I really forget. So, yeah, I forgot my shout outs.
All right. Well, I want to give a shout out to all of the veterans, all of the active service members as we roll into Memorial Day weekend. I want to give a shout out to all of the parents who got your kids through another school year. It was the last day of school here in Dallas on Friday, and I know y'all are itching to have that grocery bill skyrocket with them sitting at home eating up all your food.
Get to the HEB and the Tom Thumb.
Right. Congratulations to my nephew Carter on your academic accomplishments. He was awarded at the award show. I am so very proud of him. The culture legacy continues as academians and pillars of the community and of the society. I just threw that in there at the end to make myself look good. Martrice Hastings throwing up the signs. We want to send a shout out to Miles Hastings as he gets ready to embark on another year of college football. They have a new coach at BGA, and we're going to be reading about him soon now that these colleges can pay these players. Martrice, we about to pick out your draft dress.
Martrice, let me hold something once he.
Martrice, can you let a brother hold a little something?
Once he signed his name on that NIL, now, Treese, you know Paul and I, if he wears what, Paul, I have to tell you what she told me. I can't tell you on air. We
will do that in the post roll. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we want you all to enjoy your 3-day weekend, enjoy your holiday weekend, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, enjoy some basketball. And for goodness sakes, enjoy Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. Let these women be great so the WNBA.
Patrice, you know, if he wear that color, you know we're going to have to have it on up under.
I will wear that color for Miles. Congratulations to all the graduates. And let me say this too. Y'all quit fighting at these damn graduations. The hell is going on?
Y'all, down in Memphis, they got the fighting on the stage.
On the stage. Now,
then people up in Howard got mad. They beating them. Why are y'all taking away from y'all's kids? The graduation ain't for you.
Right. And the lady that went off because her kid didn't get an award at that elementary school. Like, let's stop it, y'all. Let's do better. This is one of those situations to where always bet on black until black embarrasses me. Y'all are embarrassing the culture right now. Stop that. Stop it right now. She says he's opposed to that school. Yes, the prayers have worked, Tasha. The prayers have worked.
Thank you. So then, Paul, I tell you off the air.
Yes, Mama, they were fighting on the stage. Langston with a final shot. We will see y'all in 6 days and 23 hours. Until then,
shouts out to Shelby County.
Shelby County, Orange Mountain in the house. Peace. Go blue. I can't wait for this to stop so you can tell me what you need to tell me.